There's a billion videos here on YouTube talking about this lens and that lens and which one's sharper and which one has better bokeh. So in this video, we're gonna go over which ones actually make me money, including one that I never hear anyone talk about. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, I'm Cole Caparoon. Thank you for stopping by for another video. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a music producer, mix engineer in Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm also a published and printed photographer, and I have multiple YouTube channels, and I've filmed over 400 videos. I've been hired by some of the biggest companies to do gear reviews and product photography. I'm an avid landscape photographer and an avid automotive photographer. So I'm coming at this from a giant range of uses: photo, video, automotive, product, portrait, and landscape. And while you can see that I have a pretty good collection of lenses, there's only a couple that are like my bread and butter. But this lens that I'm filming on right now, 24mm f1.4, is definitely like the bread and butter lens. It's incredibly sharp. It does have some character. It's not incredibly sterile. There's a good amount of pop on the image when I'm using this to shoot photos. It is obviously incredible in low light. The autofocus is unbelievable, and it's pretty small and compact for a f1.4 lens. I would say if I had to pick a single lens that I use the most, it would probably be the 24mm f1.4. All right, next up, a cheapie. The Sony 50mm f1.8. This is a $250 lens. This is not an expensive lens whatsoever. And it's interesting to me because everyone talks about how, oh, it's not as sharp and it's not as sharp edge to edge and all of this stuff. Well, I'm super into like these vintage lenses here. And the reason why you would go with vintage lenses is for character, is for vibes. I don't need one that is flawlessly clinical and perfectly sterile. This is great. This 50mm f1.8, $250, the nifty 50. I use it all the time. Tons of product photography, tons of video work, tons of video B-roll. It balances on a gimbal incredibly. 50mm is one of my favorite focal lengths anyway. Now I will say where this lens does fall short is autofocus. It is not the fastest or most accurate autofocus, and for that it will eventually get upgraded to either the 1.4 or the 1.2. But this is an incredible lens, especially for $250. Don't overlook this. All right, next up is the 16-35 f2.8 G Master. This was my first full frame lens. I went right to this because I needed whatever was the most versatile, that had the widest range of uses. I could vlog with it. I could do this talking head stuff with it. I could do kind of portraits with it. Great for landscapes, great for automotive. At f2.8, decent enough in low light. By the way, I don't consider 2.8 a fast lens. I know a lot of people consider like anything faster than an f4 to be fairly fast. I don't. Because a lot of my stuff is interior and a lot of my stuff is more dimly lit, 2.8 is kind of the minimum to me. I don't have lenses that are slower than 2.8, but this is just a fantastic all-around lens. When I'm going hiking, it's usually this one that is on the camera for photos, waterfalls, trails, overlooks, scenic photos, landscape photos. And if I don't know what I'm shooting, if I'm walking into something that is more of a vlog style YouTube video, and I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing, this is the lens that's on the camera out of the gate, because it's so versatile. It is definitely bigger, definitely heavier. The autofocus isn't quite as fast as the new version 16-35 2.8, but it does the job just fine. Now, this is not an inexpensive lens. I think these, by the way, I'll put links to every single one of these lenses in the description down below. This lens, I think, goes for $2,000. It might be cheaper now that the version 2 is out. It's not a cheap lens. And speaking of not cheap lenses, on to one of my all-time favorite lenses, and that is the Sony 70-200 f2.8 G Master. This is the G Master 2, and this lens, boy, this lens is unbelievable. First of all, so sharp, unbelievably sharp. The stabilization in it, because this one has stabilization, is just, It's just unbelievable. It's so good. I use this a ton for automotive. It's my favorite automotive lens. I don't need anything faster than a 2.8 for automotive because cars are big enough that like by the time you're at 2.8, if the front of the car is in focus, the back of the car is probably out of focus. So I tend to run automotive stuff at 2.8 or slower. Obviously awesome for zoomed in landscapes. I took this to the zoo a few weeks ago and just got some really cool shots. And I use this all the time for product B-roll, or especially if I'm doing a tutorial on a piece of gear, a review on a piece of gear, and I want just a super punched in view, I use this on almost every one of those shots. This is an expensive lens. I think this one is $3,000, but it is a bread and butter lens. Okay, the last lens that I never hear anyone talk about. I just don't, and I don't know why, because I think it's incredible. And that is the Sony 14mm f1.8 G Master. This is a lens, and I probably use this the second most. I think the 24mm 1.4 is the most used lens, and I think the 14mm 1.8 is the second most used lens. I absolutely adore this lens. And there's a couple reasons why. One, when you get super wide, like 16mm like this down to 14mm, the depth of field is not very shallow, because if you're at 16mm at f2.8, it's just not the most shallow depth of field, because the wider you go, the deeper the focus depth is. But 14mm is like being able to handhold vlog something and not have to put it like on a gorilla pod and like hold it out like this so that way you're vlogging like this. The fact that I can just put this on and with active stabilization in, which crops a little bit, I can just hold it like this is just, it's so good. I love how it shows so much of the environment. I love how it makes spaces look. It's my favorite lens to photograph my studio or any other studio with. I love it for vlogging. It's awesome for astrophotography. It might be a little on the wide side for landscapes, but I never hear anyone talk about this. And I think this is the best vlogging lens that Sony makes. It's like $1,400 I think. Again, I'll put links down below for all of these. It's such a good lens and I use it constantly. Obviously, I have other lenses here. I have some of these vintage Canon lenses. I have vintage Pentax lenses. I have cinema lenses. So if you guys want more detailed content on lenses, don't forget to subscribe and hit me up in the comments down below and let me know. But that'll do it. Thank you guys for watching. These are the lenses that actually make me money, that I use on a daily or almost daily basis. So I hope this was enjoyable. I hope it helped you. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.